children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you open.
Oh no, they say he's got to go. Oh no, Godzilla.
And the copyright strike comes in.
Welcome to Final Guys, where we're talking about the big guy tonight. That's right. It's Jack, Hunter, and Jason. We're here to talk about Godzilla, the king of all monsters. Hello, fellas. How you doing?
All hail the king.
My day is almost over and I'm still alive. We're getting through.
The truth is out there.
So for all you newcomers, welcome to Final Guys. What we're going to do, we're going to chat a little bit about the horror news. We're going to go through what crap did we watch this week so we can tell you what's good and what you can avoid. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the new Godzilla movie with non-spoilers. Then we'll ring a bell at the end, and we're going to talk spoilers for the last part of the show. So you're okay if you haven't seen the movie until we ring the bell.
It's a literal bell.
It is literally a bell.
Now, not even a sound effect.
Now, with that, we also have a live chat room. So if you go to our Twitter account and you happen to be listening to this live, there's people in there who are crazy friends, and they are watching and chatting along. And they also play a drinking game where they, if we say certain words, they have to drink. So who's got the words for tonight?
I have the words. And by the way, tonight I have a can of Guinness.
Oh, the CO2.
Yeah, now I haven't had this in years. Ooh,
I had one a couple of weeks ago.
Did you? Is it?
I'm high end tonight. Natural light in my Superman glass.
Ooh, natty.
Natty.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm pouring me some Guinness in my Mets Point. Oh, that takes a while. All right.
You
that
just
looks
like half
nice and,
pours with Guinness.
You got to let that settle.
Nice and muddy. All right. Here are the drinking rules, folks. If Jack says king, head, or series, imbibe. If I say monster, Kong, or lightning, drink. And Jason, if you say cast effects with an E or story, guzzle. And if any of us say Godzilla, Ghidorah, or Mothra, you must drink. This will be record setting.
Yep.
I think our record is 75 drinks in an episode. This will be well over 100.
We've got to be at a lot of words already, right? I mean, how many times we said Godzilla already?
Mothra.
Wait, Mothra's in this movie?
Yes, Mothra and Ghidorah.
Were they going to make a series out of Mothra?
I think so. Sheridan's right now going, you sons of bitches, you never start this early.
It's his bed. He can sleep in it. With Godzilla.
With all our empties.
What's new with you guys before we get going? Anything to plug or tell me, or what's going on?
I'm a smidge away from finishing the 5th book in the Hunger series. Maybe 2 days of writing if I can actually sit down and write.
Oh, wow.
Still blogging every day, although the last 3 days I've been so freaking busy. My blog posts have been like a paragraph with just a word count. But I'll be back to blogging tomorrow, talking about more of how I do things. And yeah, it's actually working. I'm writing a lot more words than I have in a long time. So can't complain about that.
Making yourself accountable.
That's right.
Excellent.
Dozens of people are waiting.
They come by twos. I got the thumbs up from my editor, Don Dioria, to go ahead with my next book for Flame Tree Press. So I'm kind of psyched.
Oh, is Don there now?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That's why I'm there.
Oh.
I only go where Don goes. I'm his Lenny. Can I pet the rabbits, George?
That's funny because you're the Lenny to my Squiggy.
Hello.
Live.
So yeah, I'm going to start writing that in July once I finish this renovating bullcrap. But I was psyched. I just have to change the title. He did not like They Eat People.
I like it.
I kind of like that.
I do too, but then my wife would point out, she goes, if people read that, they're expecting zombies. And you're not giving them zombies. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
It's true too. All right, cool.
Well, Hunter, if you go to the Final Guys webpage, you'll find a scathing review of your book.
If it works, I tried.
Shut up. It's only down for an hour.
But it's this hour.
When it comes back up, you'll find a review of your book, Creature. Scathing, horrible.
I was looking forward to reading it when Jason would go on about what he watches, so I could just cruise on over and read something. But now, whatever.
All right, let's get to the news because there's not a whole lot. All right, so you know how Jordan Peele is kind of remaking or doing, I don't know, what's a sequel or a reboot of Candyman?
Yeah.
And not the Sammy Davis Jr. song, but the
I wish
Bees movie. Well, there had been some doubt as to whether Tony Todd was going to be involved or not. He, in fact, is going to be involved, but I don't know if he'll actually be said Candyman or not. But good old Tony Todd will be involved.
Yeah, I figured.
Very nice.
Like I said, this is a slow news day, so
I'm so not looking forward to that movie.
It's weird how much I don't care either way. Like, I hope it's good, but I'm not excited, but I'm not like pissed at the remaking Candyman either.
Maybe Tony Todd will he'll play like a landlord or something this time around.
Last week, I think it was, I said that the further I get from Pet Sematary, the less I like it. And I didn't like it really to start with. Us is another movie that the more I think about it, the less I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but none of us have been watching that Twilight Zone thing, have we?
No. I haven't seen one episode of it.
All right. Well, if anybody out there has been watching, tell us what you think.
I love Key and Peele. I'll tell you that much though. But
hell yeah.
Okay, so the Creepshow reboot is the next topic. So you know how they're rebooting Creepshow? It's going to be on Shudder. Greg Nicotero is helming it. Yep. They added some cast members, including the lovely Trisha Helfer, the reliable David Arquette.
They're reliable.
I don't know what the hell. And Dana Gould. Remember him?
Dana Gould.
I remember
Dana
the
Gould.
name.
If you saw him, you would know him. Here's a great thing about Dana Gould. I heard him on a podcast once.
The comedian?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like an expert on horror movies. I heard him on a podcast once, and he knows his stuff, man. Like, I would love to get him on a show sometime.
He's like a film historian, too, not just horror.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I know who he is.
Huh. Tom Savini is also going to be directing one of the episodes.
Really?
Part of the drinking game tonight should be how many head shakes I get from Jason before the show's over.
We're already up to 7 or 8, so...
Hey, let me tell you a story.
So Tom Savini directing and Nicotero, is he the showrunner? Wonder how gory it's going to be.
It's made for Shudder, so hopefully it's going to be nice
very.
and bloody.
Might be intense.
And Trisha Helfer, giddy up.
That Battlestar Galactica.
She was okay in that, yeah.
She had a minor impact.
I'd go Cylon.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so the last piece of news is the best piece of news. So you guys both saw that Truth or Dare movie. I didn't see it yet.
Yes.
Right? So
in the
Blumhouse, who had made that movie, and I just learned this from the news story. They're also working on a horror version of Fantasy Island.
What?
But that's not the news. That was just like in the lead up to it.
Welcome. I love it.
So the makers of Truth or Dare are working with Blumhouse on a frickin' movie about Magic 8 Ball.
What?
I swear. It's
Magic 8 Ball. Come on.
Since the 1950s, Magic 8 Ball has inspired imagination, suspense, and intrigue across generations. Blah, 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 blah. They're making a Magic 8 Ball. I'm not reading this whole thing.
You know, my minion is like a Magic 8 Ball because you just squeeze him and he answers all kinds of questions. You just don't know what it's going to be.
All signs point to yes.
How
I want to
much
get in
would
the
I have
park.
to pay your wife to have her smash that and send me a video of it?
She does not like Minions, but I love them. And someone got this for me. No, it keeps going.
Where are you putting that when you put it off camera?
He's sitting on my crotch,
Okay.
right where he belongs. His name is Dave, and he's fabulous.
His name is BJ. Like BJ and the Bear.
This is what 51. This is what I thought 51 would be like when I was a child. It's exactly like I thought.
With a minion in your lap.
Talking to morons on the computer about movies.
Right. Anywho, that's all the news. I told you it was a slow week. So Magic 8 Ball. Am I looking forward to it? All signs point to yes.
He's laughing about it, so
hopefully it's like, you ever seen a movie, what's it? Unfaithful with Diane Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Richard Gere hits the guy with a snow globe. Maybe they'll do that kind of thing. Like he whacks him with it. And it's like, did I stop? No.
Keep hitting.
Oh God. Magic
Okay,
8
so
Ball.
let's get out of the news and let's get into what did we watch today.
We have such sights to show you.
Take it.
Oh, sorry, didn't see it.
All right.
Okay, what did we watch this week?
Movies.
I'm still
Somebody
off
go.
my A game. I only watched 3 instead of 4.
Damn.
I know. I'm so behind. It's bothering me. I haven't seen anything new in so long.
Well, you got to be first.
Well, I was looking for something to watch. One night I actually had time to watch a movie, and I saw on Shudder the movie Ravenous popped up.
Oh, is that what the cavalry ass?
Yes. Yeah, it's right after the Mexican-American War, I think. It's got a hell of a cast to it. Guy Pearce, Robert Carlyle, David Arquette, Jeremy Davies,
Reliable.
Jeffrey Jones, on and on.
Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, before his career ended abruptly.
Want to watch Ferris Bueller with me today, boy?
This is basically a movie about being the curse of the Wendigo. Wendigo? I always said Wendigo. What is it?
I
I
say
always
Wendigo.
said Wendigo, but I think it's Wendigo.
Okay, well, whatever.
Exactly.
The old curse about if you eat human flesh, you turn into an insatiable monster who only wants more human flesh. And these guys encounter this weird dude out at an outpost who tells them this horrible story about eating his crew as they were trying to get west, and he ends up eating them, and he just, his hunger is weirder, and he had left some of the people alive in a cave and was taking the crew up to help them, and then things go crazy and flesh eating and stabbing, and a really weird movie ensues. I don't know, have you guys seen this?
Oh yeah. And actually, I wanted to revisit it because I heard it was just coming on Shudder. So
I liked it a lot when it first came out, and I still like it now. And it is a really weird movie. Tonally, there's horrible stuff happening in this movie, and it's got this almost fun music playing over it.
yeah,
And they're making these weird jokes while they're eating people and stuff, and it's it's one of the weirdest tonal movies I've ever seen, but it just, for some reason, it hits me, and I like the hell out of it. And it's it was a very troubled production. The director was fired 3 weeks into shooting, which is always a good sign. And a woman took over and made this movie that I love. So it's violent, it's gory at times, it's weird, it's bizarre, and it's fun. And my wife hates it, and I dig it. So if you're looking for something different, I would 100% check out Ravenous on Shudder.
Yeah, that's a killer movie.
I really like it.
Shudder's banned. They're getting so many movies lately. It's crazy. Thank
Yeah,
God.
and I haven't been able to watch any of them. I mean, The Ranger's on there, which would probably be a good one for us to do for the show, and I just haven't been able to.
yeah, we should say that for the show because I haven't seen it yet either.
Me either.
All right, there you go.
All right, my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I watched a movie on Shudder, Deathline, which is from 1973 or 4, right around there. It came out in America as Raw Meat. This is a British horror movie, and I was reading a book about criticism of horror cinema, and they keep mentioning Raw Meat. And some people used to, back in the day, call it the worst horror movie ever made. But in retrospect, people are like, you know what? That's maybe one of the best British horror movies ever made. Yeah, it's weird. It's amazing. This movie is amazing. It stars Donald Pleasance. He is a cop who is fucking bananas. He's just weird. He screams and then he laughs. You never know what direction he's going to come at you in. He's a really curmudgeonly, strange dude. But it starts with this aristocratic guy in a bowler hat is like going around the strip joints and everything, and then he goes to the subway to go home, and he is attacked by something in the subway, and then a young couple find his body laying there on the steps. The guy thinks, oh, he's just a drunk, leave him be. The girl's like, oh, maybe he's diabetic. Check his card. So they look at his wallet. They go, oh, no. So they get a cop, and when they come, the body's gone. And then Donald Pleasance is grilling the guy who found him, thinking maybe he did something to this guy. Turns out this guy is pretty important. He's kind of like a local politician. And they start investigating the death until Christopher Lee comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Shuts that shit down. He was only in it for like 3 minutes, but it was cool just to see him there. And it turns out in the old London Underground, there's a urban legend about how they were building it, and then there was a cave-in, and they kind of left all these people to die in there, the workers. And little did we know, all these generations, they've been procreating, and there's a man and a woman left down there who are also filled with plague. And it's the guy is going around and just grabbing people because they're cannibals. But here's the weird thing. You start to feel sympathy for this guy who is just disgusting and clubbing people and eating them. So it makes you feel bad for him. And then this whole thing goes on down there. And there are scenes that are really freaking gory. And I guess they hired everybody who could like create like a rotting body, because there's lots of rotting bodies down there. It's so good, man. And I think it's on Netflix too.
Why did people think it was the worst movie ever?
Because of the graphic nature of it at the time. This is pre-Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was just a different sensibility. To me, it might be one of the more definitive British horror movies, but the funny thing is it's directed by an American.
So we have 2 cannibal movies that we have recommended now.
It's all about cannibals, baby.
Good
we didn't even organize this.
We are the fine young cannibals.
This was Deathline on Shudder.
Yes. And it might also be called Raw Meat, but I found it as Deathline.
All right, let me check this out.
If you want to see Donald Pleasance's maybe craziest performance ever, other than Hallelujah Trail, this is the movie.
Oh, you got to see that vampire movie I saw him with, and that was nutty too.
He was a crazy guy, man.
Yeah.
All right, added to my list.
You're going to love it.
Well, I have very, very, very good news. I found a horror movie on Netflix that's really worth watching.
I don't even friggin' believe you at this point.
I know it's hard to believe, but I watched the movie called Life Changer. It is a low-budget movie, but it is well done. It is about a skinwalker. So it's a being that has to basically absorb somebody else and become them, and then leaves their kind of husk of their body, and he inhabits their look or whatever. And he used to be able to do this for like a year at a time, but as he's gotten older, it doesn't last as long anymore. And it's gotten down to like it only lasts like half a day or 6 hours.
Hey, nothing lasts when we get older, does it, Jack?
No, exactly. So he's got to keep changing bodies, and he does things to like prolong it. Like if he takes antibiotics, it'll help him keep the body intact, or he could do like cocaine to decay it faster.
I need penicillin and some rails.
So it's very interesting as he's going from body to body and having to deal with all that. But he's also, there's this woman who hangs out in a bar, and he's in love with her. So he keeps going back to the bar as different people and talking to her. I would say maybe in the second act, it might drag a tad once it kind of shifts a little bit from his shape shifting to a little bit more focus on the girl, but not bad, but just a little bit. But then the ending happens, and the ending is really cool. So again, it's a low budget movie, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm like, oh my god, this is, I stumbled upon something. So
Yeah.
I say, what? Check out this movie. It's a lot of fun.
What's the name of it again?
Life Changer.
Life Changer.
It's only an hour and
show.
23 minutes. I like it.
Oh, I might watch that later then.
Giddy up.
I don't have work tomorrow.
I actually wrote a novel that sounds kind of similar to that. I might have to sue.
I did something like that in Father Exorcist years ago, but whatever.
This is way better than both of those things.
Probably.
I'm sure it's better than my book. It's freaking young adult.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
All right. What do you got, Jason?
This isn't horror, but it's this drama fantasy sci-fi show on Netflix called The OA. Did you guys ever see the first season a couple years ago?
Oh my God. I wanted to punch myself in the balls and skull after watching that.
See, I really liked it, so you can just ignore the rest. The second season came out not long ago. I didn't even know it. It seemed to come out with no fanfare. I really liked this season too, up until maybe the last 2 or 3 episodes, and it took the hardest left turn I think I've ever had a series take. So I didn't follow it much for the next 2 episodes or so, and then the ending was so great that I'm back on board and I'm ready for season 3.
So I assume they didn't end it with interpretive dance.
Oh, it goes way beyond the dude, if you thought that was weird, what happens so for those who haven't seen the OA, it's even hard to describe. This woman who was Russian has a near-death experience and goes blind and moves to America when she's a kid, and then as an adult she's kidnapped and imprisoned for 7 years with other people, and all this dancing starts that it's I don't want to go too far into spoilers. It's weird, but it totally worked for me. I loved it. If you like weird stuff, this is going to be your show. Like I said, it's not horror. It's like a mystery fantasy sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
But the second season is way weirder than the first. So dig in.
See, I was really into the first season, and what killed it, that final episode, and when they were in the cafeteria doing that thing, my wife laughed so hard she literally pissed herself, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, well, this is the most absurd thing we've ever seen. And
you might want to start the second season. I'm curious if you'll change your opinion at the end. Yeah.
All right. I might give it a try.
Yeah.
I just tried Good Omens. I was like, no, I don't want to watch that.
Oh, you did?
Good Omens. What is that?
Yeah, the Armageddon, there's an angel and a demon.
Oh, yeah. I saw a trailer for that in front of Godzilla.
Yeah. I wasn't impressed with the first episode.
The guy who plays Kilgrave is in that.
I read the book, so that was good enough. I might watch Chernobyl. That's what I want to watch.
I hear that's awesome.
Yeah, I need to get that done before my Game of Thrones HBO subscription dies.
That's right.
I need to get my money's worth after wanting to dropkick something after Game of Thrones. So.
No reason to watch HBO anymore.
That's right.
Okay.
So the OA, check it out.
I'm gonna. I didn't have much time for movies, but I did read a book. I read Jeff Strand's Ferocious, which, Jason, didn't you just read that?
No, I didn't get to that one yet.
Oh, okay. Look, Jeff Strand is the man, so I'll read anything he writes at this point. And it takes a Jeff Strand type of person to make me read a zombie book at this point. Jeff Strand or Jason Brant. That's it.
They're not zombies, man.
They're Vladdies, you son of a bitch. So this is a really cool concept because I won't kill the book for you. But it's a guy who is kind of disconnected from society, and he's living in the woods, and he's kind of like I'm a manly man. He's off the grid, and his sister and her husband die in a car crash, and he becomes guardian to their young daughter, who he raises his niece. And then we cut to when she's a teenager, and they are literally in the middle of nowhere. And then one day, a zombie squirrel attacks them. Not that they know it's a zombie squirrel. And then they go into town, and the truck breaks down 3 miles coming back home, and they're back in the cabin. And every animal you think that's in the woods is now undead and trying to get them. And it's them trying to survive the night, basically, and try to find a way to get in that truck and get back to town. It's crazy. It's really cool. It has his usual great dialogue between the two of them, good banter between the two of them, a lot of sarcastic stuff, but not as much as he's done in a lot of his other books. After a while, it got kind of like, okay, oh, it's another animal attacking him. Oh, yeah, okay, another animal. But
got to hit 300 pages, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't think this was quite that long, but It's a really good book. Jeff Strand couldn't write a bad book if he tried.
Yeah.
So
he's one of those guys who could just wipe his ass with a piece of paper, and I'd pay $4 to read it.
yeah. So it's not my favorite Jeff Strand book, but it's a really good book, and it's a cool zombie book. A different take because it's just animals, not people.
Excellent.
Didn't you wrote a book? What was that called? With the killer animals, A Kill in Peace or something like that?
Oh no, Tortures of the Damned.
Was that what it was?
Tortures.
Yeah. Tortures of the Damned.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember I Kill in Peace now. That had the insane sex scene in it.
Oh, I Kill in Peace. I put things in there that I might be on a list.
You're on my list after reading.
I've had publishers go, "Hey, would you want to put that back out?" I'm like, "Nah, it's okay." I got away with that once. I don't want to take my chances a second time.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, the night that I had free to watch something else, I was exhausted. And I was like, I can't handle anything that's going to make me think. I need something light. And in light of the fact that we watched Brightburn last week, I decided to watch the DC animated Reign of the Supermen movie. Now, I had watched the Death of Superman movie that they had made, I guess, last year, that I enjoyed. I never read the Death of Superman comic book, so this was my fast way of seeing what happened in that. I kind of knew about the whole Doomsday thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the follow-up where they had like 4 or 5 different people who were saying they were Superman. One was like a robot, one was like a young guy, one was John Henry, the Steel guy and stuff and everything. So again, I had never read it and I just needed something. And it was actually perfect because I perked up and watched it, but it was, candy. So I just enjoyed watching it. And now I finally know what the story was with all those Supermen. And it was very funny because in the wake of Brightburn, every time like somebody punched somebody else and they went flying through a wall and a building crashed, I'm like, oh, so many people would have died. Oh my God, the carnage and all that.
Thanks, super assholes.
One of the great things about these particular DC movies is Nathan Fillion does Green Lantern, and he's hardly in it, but when he is, everything he says is funny. There's some other. The DC has figured out the cartoon movies. They're live action ones they haven't really figured out. But and some of the stuff they've tried to carry over from the movies into the cartoons now. So Wonder Woman's got a really Gal Gadot kind of thing going now.
It's amazing how much better their cartoons are than their live action movies.
So listen, I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the Death of Superman, but it was. I'm glad now I finally know the whole story of the Death of Superman arc that came back. This isn't as good as the Death of Superman, but it was good enough for me to watch and enjoy.
Did you not rush out and buy the Death of Superman and save it in a bag with a backer board like everyone else?
Jason, I can sell you some copies if you want.
I've got at least 2.
I think I have 10.
I have the Death in the Family, not the original comic book, but the trade that came out right after it, which is worth probably nothing.
Have you watched the Swamp Thing series on DC Universe?
No, I don't.
Whatever the hell that is.
No.
I know it looks cool, but Barnard's watching it. So
there's too many platforms. Netflix, Amazon, and that's it. I got cable channels still.
We are 2 to 3 years away from having to subscribe to like 20 different things to see the things you want to see. And
it's going to be just like your cable
backing
bill.
out. Yeah.
I'm resigned to the fact that I'm probably going to be getting this Disney thing because of all the stuff that they're going to put on. I'm going to be like, I can't be missing that. So,
I sold my Disney stock, so screw them.
Shudder dragged me kicking and screaming just to their service. It's going to take a lot more than Swamp Thing.
At $5. A horror fan at $5.
Yeah.
Took you.
Well, hopefully Barnard can write a review or something for the site so we can know if it's worth getting for a month or something just to check out.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. I mean, the creature effects on the Swamp Thing look killer.
Yeah.
It looks like they're doing it right. Okay. What the hell else did I do? Oh, I read a book by a psychopath, good old W. Sheridan Bradford, All Hallows.
Which I'm reading now.
Do tell.
I think this is how he describes it too, but it's how I'm going to describe it. Literary horror. It is very flowery prose, very well written prose, but not at all like your typical horror book. It's very different the way it's written. And it took me a while to kind of get used to his writing style, even though, I mean, the way he writes to us on Twitter and shit, it's like, what the hell is he saying? So I thought I'd had a heads up. But we were talking about this before. I was actually blown away at how well written this was, particularly for being a first book. Because my first book is not for sale anymore because it was a giant piece of shit.
Mine's in a floppy disk.
Yeah, I don't even know if I saved mine. I might have just thrown that one out. But if literary horror is more your thing, then it's basically the exact opposite of my books. I purposely write with simpler stuff. So if you're looking for something where the writing is deeper than my stuff, or I was even thinking when I was trying to describe it to someone, I said, okay, Richard Lehman, super simple premise, super simple writing. This is on the exact opposite end of that. Mm-hmm. Much more complicated story, much more complicated writing. So if that's your thing, if Richard Lehman, which I know a lot of people don't like Richard Lehman, I do because I'm stupid, I guess. No. But if you're on the other end, this might be your bag. And like I said, for being a first book in particular, I was completely shocked.
What's kind of the synopsis of it?
Oh my God!
There's a witch,
witchcraft, but there's like cool spells in it where somebody has to cut off their fingers willingly for a spell to save their child, and really screwed up shit like that. So,
and when she can't do it with a rock, she has to chew them off.
Yeah, that was nice. So yeah, it's I know he's writing I think he's writing a sequel or an adjacent book to it. I think he says he's changing his style, so I don't even know if that's going to carry through to the next one. But
it's going to be a pop-up book.
But like the witch Marin runs into like other witches, vampires, werewolves, chupacabras. I mean, there's a lot going on in this.
It's a smorgasbord of monsters in this book.
Swearwolves.
Swearwolves, exactly.
So nice job, Sheridan. Keep them coming.
Excellent. Well, I'm all done. How about you, Hunter?
As I said to my wife last night, I'm spent.
I'm spent. All right, then brace for impact. It's time to talk about Godzilla.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Holy crap, the bumper worked for the first time in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
So Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This is the third. It was Godzilla, then Skull Island, Kong Skull Island, and now this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if you need to synopsize this movie besides the fact that giant monsters are called Titans. They've been tracking them since, Kong was in the 70s?
Yes.
And so they've been tracking the locations and whereabouts of different Titans around the world. This organization called Monarch is kind of the group running this, and they're under government scrutiny now. Then basically circumstances unfold to which Godzilla is pitted against King, how do you say it? Ghidorah?
Didn't they used to call him King Ghidorah back in the day?
That's what I thought. Ghidorah. I don't know.
I'm going to go with Monster Zero.
I like Monster Zero. You don't fuck with Monster Zero.
And so that's the summary. I'll go last. Who would like to tell us? Jason, what'd you think?
This is a tough movie for me. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So tough. It's time for drink number 2.
So the first Godzilla, I thought was okay. It took way too long to get to the Godzilla action. Way too much implausible stuff with the humans. It was just okay. It wasn't a bad movie. I didn't hate it the way a lot of people did, but I really didn't get into it. That's pretty much what I feel about this. As Joe Bob Briggs says, there was way too much plot getting in the way of the story of this movie. I mean, my God, speaking of throwing everything in the kitchen sink into a storyline, God, there were so many characters doing so much shit all the time.
And all of it dumb.
And they clearly listened to people saying it took way too long for Godzilla to start kicking ass in the last movie. So they throw it right at the beginning for 5 minutes, and then that's about it for a while. And then you get a little one, and then nothing for a while. Mm-hmm. So I I'm still formulating all of my thoughts on it, to be honest. But
Do you want to come back tomorrow? We'll do this.
yes, thank you.
Go see it again, and then
I
we'll
only
talk.
saw it yesterday, so I didn't. Normally, I have all weekend to think about it, but the monster fights were okay at times and very lacking at times. For some reason, every freaking fight is in the rain. They thought, hey, the awesome looking monster we have, let's put a giant freaking hurricane around him so you can't see a goddamn thing.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
But I will say, I thought some of the dialogue was funny. Like the main guy, I can't think of his name. He was in the Bloodlines or something on Netflix.
Kyle something.
Mhm.
That dude's lines were funny as hell. So the writing for me was the worst part. It just, the story was not there for me at all. That's where
Okay.
There we go.
Mr. Shea.
By the way, mega doses of CBD and beer make you feel nothing. Just so you know, this is a little PSA. That's one to grow on.
All right.
So anyway, I saw this movie alone. My daughter got sick, so I was like, all right, I'll go alone. And I went to Alamo and I got a free movie and popcorn because of my birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I saw it for free. Look, I hated the first one. Hated that last one because I fell asleep several times in the theater. It was so boring. And I was like, I'll never watch that again. So my bar was set low, but then I heard people saying, well, there's way more monsters. I'm like, cool. I'm like, all I want is monster fights and human beings doing stupid, nonsensical stuff. And man, they did not disappoint.
Oh, you got stupid, nonsensical stuff.
The actions of the people in this movie are so absurdly dumb.
Yeah, every step of the way.
You need to create a new word to describe how worthless and stupid everything they do is, which is amazing. By the way, they exist in this flying spaceship.
Out of the Avengers.
Yeah, totally.
The Avengers or
Quinjet.
something from 4,000 years from now. It's amazing. And it never experiences turbulence.
Yeah, but Godzilla movies always had that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, that's what I understand. Well, usually they sat in these bizarre control rooms or whatever, and then the tanks would come out. So I didn't mind that. I got a lot of Vera Farmiga, which I love to see her in a giant screen because she's like the hottest MILF.
She's great with the dumbest character to ever exist in a movie.
Oh my God. Could she make any worse decisions? Gee, how dumb
Save
are
it.
you?
I haven't gone yet, so don't do all the Vera talk before I even get into this.
But there's points I'm going, wow, is this like this movie like produced by Fox News to tell you how stupid liberals are for letting like, bad things live? I swear to God, I honestly thought that. I thought, who's behind
Was
this
this
movie?
CBD in the booze?
Might be. Well, that's now.
Okay.
I thought the monster fights were cool. I wish, like Jason, I wish they were not in the dark and the rain, because that was the fun of Godzilla movies. They were always well lit, you know, and you got to see it. So I think because of that, you missed. There was some fights like, I don't even know who's fighting who at this moment.
Yep.
Who's winning? And you lose some of like the personality of Godzilla. There's a little more this time around than the last time around, but overall, I did have a blast because it was just dumb monster fun, and that's literally all I wanted. So I give it a monster thumb up.
Excellent. All right. Well, I have a similar view to you. I went in. I did not like the first Godzilla movie. I thought it took way too long to get to the monsters, and then I didn't like the monsters that they had. I thought Kong Skull Island was fine, but I have no real desire to go back to it. So I actually like this better than both of those.
Really? That surprises me.
And I thought exactly going in, I was like, what do I want out of a Godzilla movie? I want a bunch of monsters fighting with, the human part just not to bore me. And I wasn't bored, but it was laughable what was going on.
Plus they blow shit up every now and then or ride into a hurricane, but so, you know.
And they could have cut out a lot of the human part and had the movie be shorter. Kyle Chandler, who's the I think that's his name. The
Vera
lead
Farmiga's
guy.
ex-husband.
Yeah. So I thought he was pretty one note. He was just kind of the lead guy who's the outsider who's telling everybody that they're doing it wrong. Vera Farmiga has this layered performance that she brought her best Norma Bates to this. And so I enjoyed her because she's just in this ridiculous movie saying ridiculous things, but she's just selling it. She's got an Adam West earnestness
She
to her.
does.
And Millie Bobby Brown was like, she's channeling young Natalie Portman. Like you're going, hey, there's like some acting chops in this kid.
But even 11 couldn't save this.
So I enjoyed the monster parts, and I thought the human parts were silly, but fine. And there was some good character actors in it, like Bradley Whitford. Is that his name?
Yeah, he's
with
awesome.
his wisecracks. The monster parts themselves, listen, nothing is going to match the man in the suit. I just like these movies should be cheesy and fun. I think that's the best way to watch them. But this movie had some great monster fights in it.
Yeah.
Yes, they were dark. I mean, I think that Pacific Rim monster fights look better than these do.
Oh yeah, it's not even close.
But
You know what's funny? The second Pacific Rim monsters look better, but it's a far worse movie.
I can't even bring myself to watch it.
Pacific Rim had the same issue because everything was dark and rainy, but that hides a lot of CGI mistakes.
Yeah, so I think this movie's fine, and it's 1,000 times better than the first Godzilla movie.
Hell yeah. I do like Kong Skull Island better than this, though.
Now,
yeah, a lot.
The one thing about the human dialogue in this, almost everything was just people explaining things like, "Oh, I looked this up, and it's this, and we call it this, and this is why they're doing this." And I think it was, man, Wikipedia is like the greatest tool these people have. They're like, "Oh, and look, here's like," they should have had the chick from Criminal Minds who looks up all the stuff on the computers for everybody. Like they're like, you know, whatever. Can you look this up for me? Oh my God, he's a killer. And lives in this street. He's called us 14 times. That's what they kept doing, just like Googling things.
The human part is dumb. Going in, I wanted awesome monster fights and the story to be just basic enough to have them fight. And I don't know. I thought we didn't get anywhere near the fights I wanted. So they would show Washington, D.C. It's completely destroyed and flooded. But we never saw that happen. We just saw the aftermath. So I'm like, what the hell is this? I had to see these idiots go to Atlantis, but I can't watch a monster destroy Washington, D.C.
And there were like a dozen other Titans out there, and all they ever showed was that woolly mammoth thing.
And the spider.
Yeah, I hated that thing. I was in the last
one. That's where my biggest disappointment came from. I felt like we didn't get to see any of the coolest stuff. Like we got to see King Kong fighting in Antarctica. I don't give a shit about that. I want to see him destroying New York or Los Angeles.
Well, they did that because it would look cool when he was glowing under the ice.
By the way, Godzilla knew where to go before the humans did.
Yeah, his monster radar was incredible.
Well, he knows all the tunnels to take.
He knows the Hollow Earth. Jesus,
I love the Hollow Earth. I thought Nazis were going to pop up at one point.
This movie had the dumbest script. I mean, it was amazing.
Does it make you wonder if it was intentionally dumb?
I think it is.
I don't really understand what the issue with these movies not being great is. So this was Michael Dougherty, the director. He's the one who did Trick or Treat.
And Krampus.
Yeah, didn't he write the first X-Men or X2 or something? Like, this dude knows how to make really good movies. And the other one was Gareth Edwards, who also makes really good movies. So I don't understand the dumbing down of these movies. It's so
I think it was intentional. I think they looked at the Godzilla catalog and they go, oh yeah, anytime the humans talk, it's drivel. So what the fuck? Just do it. But amp it up because we're going to put him in a spaceship and we're going to blow shit up.
I just wish they do it less.
Let's put ourselves. My heyday of watching Godzilla was when I was in elementary school. So put yourselves in a 10-year-old's eyes, and you're probably like buying the comic books and the supplemental materials, and the profiles on all the different Titans and what their powers are, and just like we were like, oh, and Gamera can do this, and
freaking Gamera. I love me some Gamera.
Yeah,
but
we need.
I had a turtle. I used to spin him. I don't think he liked it, but whatever.
I think it would have helped that even with me, if the movie wasn't 2 hours and 12 minutes long, and 2 hours of it are humans running around, reading Wikipedia, like you said. I just wanted more monster shit. That was my biggest thing, because I got all this human stuff again for the second movie in a row, and I'm like, this is dumb.
But the human stuff was way more tolerable than the first one.
Yes. Well, the first one gave us the Bryan Cranston fake out.
Mm-hmm. It was like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I will never forgive that movie for that. I'm like, Walter White, bring it. Oh, he's dead.
Well, even in Kong Skull Island, the human parts, you get tired of that.
That cast was stellar, and they did nothing with that cast.
Yeah. And when, there was like parts where like what's his name, Hiddleston's running through the thing with the gas and everything. You're like, who cares? And the monsters in that one were just so. There was some really good scenes. I like that movie.
But you got Kong in full, almost 3D glory
in the daylight.
Kong looks stupendous. Godzilla looks fat.
These movies, though, I like the monster fights in this way better than in Skull Island. I like the monsters better than this, and there was a nostalgic thing going for me that when you're like Rodan, when they were dropping names like the drinking game, Rodan, Mothra, Godzilla, I'm like, yes, it's the all-star team.
That's the thing. I was like an excited kid in the movie. I could have stayed there for 3 hours, even though the human part was boring. I was alone. It was free, and I was happy.
You guys definitely had a different experience from me. I was just like, oh, would these people stop talking? Oh my God.
When we get the spoilers, we'll talk about it because there's a certain location in this movie that was very near and dear to me. So that also added to my enjoyment of the movie.
Movie definitely made by a Yankee fan.
It was funny because they were like going places where I'm like, I know I parked my car there. That's where they just knocked down the bar I like to go
to. Before we get into spoilers, I want to say when we're talking, these people were dumb. I mean, landing helicopters at the base of Godzilla's feet while he's in the middle of a fight with a giant monster, dumb. These are the dumbest characters to ever be put in a movie.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, they're like, it's like nothing will go wrong. Everything's cool.
As long as you're in the Avengers spaceship, you would be fine. Nothing happened to them.
Yeah, that sucker just kept gliding everywhere.
That ship never even rocked. Nothing.
Another plane crashed into it. Inside it, just kept going.
That's what I was going to say. We should get the spoilers because we're getting into this. Let's
ring the bell.
I'm going to ring the bell, everybody. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're going to stick around anyway, it's spoiler time.
I feel like I should eat a wafer.
Bring out your dead.
I'm not dead. I'm getting much better.
So, first of all, the oxygen bomb thing that they drop, the oxygen,
which has been done before to kill Godzilla.
I was like, isn't that like from the original Godzilla movie?
Yes. So I thought that was cool.
And then you were talking about the proximity of people to the fighting. God. There was some like nuclear fallout stuff going on. And I'm like, okay, if you weren't hit by debris and killed by the heat, the radiation of what's going on here should have killed everything for miles.
The sequel is going to be watching everyone who survived slowly dying of radiation poisoning.
I'm telling you, this script is the dumbest script. Godzilla's hurt because they basically killed him. And they go into the hollow earth where they find Atlantis. They don't call it Atlantis, but it's Atlantis.
It's Atlantis.
They say, you know what? We can save Godzilla by setting a nuke off in his face. I thought they were going to like feed it to him or something. They blow it up 6 feet from his goddamn face while they're in a submarine 50 yards away, and they somehow outrun like the shockwave. And they said they're like 6,000 feet deep or some crazy. I don't even. I'm like,
Ken Watanabe never looked happier.
They just ran up out of the water and land in the sub. I mean, it was sci-fi
by the way,
level.
That was pure. What jerks are we? They find Atlantis and then blow the living crap
blew
out
it
of
up.
They
blew it up.
Obliterated.
Like, you're totally right. They should have just fed him the friggin' bomb, but no, they got to blow it up, and they blew up his whole house.
Give him some like rods.
Survived here for eons. Humans find it for 35 seconds and blow it up with a nuke. It's just magical.
It worked though.
Then you can get super irradiated Godzilla, and when he would ramp up, that sound when he would ramp up, I was like, oh, I was so excited. It was so stupid. I felt like, all right, I'm 9 years old again.
See, that was the part of the end fight I didn't like. I felt like we got cheated out of more Godzilla versus Monster Zero fighting because he just like hulked out and a power wave just blew everything up. I was like, oh.
That was incredible.
No,
That's
I
the way
wanted
you-
to see him like ripping Hydra heads off and shit.
Because Ghidorah is from, well, first of all, we learned Ghidorah is from space. So Ghidorah is not a Titan. Ghidorah is something from space that was sent here eons ago. And they've been battling ever since.
Her master plan to destroy the planet, which was to destroy the planet, was foiled by the fact that this thing was an alien who was then going to destroy the planet. I mean, it's just...
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because the bad guys plot
Charlie
is,
Dance, by the way,
is the dumbest thing in the history of dumb things. Like, first thing we get Tyrion Lannister channeling his Dracula Untold character. Let the games begin. Just
or
like
Underworld.
Yeah, like, and he just, you're like you said, his plan to save the world is to destroy the world. Vera Farmiga's like into it till she's not into it.
Well, no, it's her plan. He's the muscle brought in to execute the plan.
Yeah, he's just some guy who thought it'd be cool to end the world for some reason.
Well, to restore balance.
Was it kind of a Thanos thing where he wanted to just like cut out half the population so that there'd be more? Although
it very much is, yeah.
And then they had the MacGuffin thing of the orca that talks to the monsters.
Speak and spell for monsters.
Yeah, speak and spell for monsters. Hello there.
So the Japanese guy who wanted us to live subservient to Godzilla, as Godzilla and the Titans as the rulers.
Yeah.
How was that really any different than what Mira Formiga's character wanted to do? I mean, they were on opposite ends, but it sounded like they kind of wanted the same thing.
Well, because they were kind of together, because they wanted the Titans to live, so they were on that side. But he didn't want to release the Titans to kill everybody.
Just Godzilla.
He wanted to live in perfect harmony with giant killing machines,
with giant monsters.
Again, I said liberal agenda. This movie is making fun of people. This movie's triggering me. I needed to say space and
they didn't
Wait,
say...
I'm not clear. You think this is a liberal movie or a right-wing movie?
I thought it was a right-wing movie making fun of liberal agendas.
Okay.
I mean, the movie was about global warming. They just didn't come out and say it. But
global warming.
When they're talking about humans destroying the planet and pollution.
If there's not a hole in the ozone layer after this movie, Godzilla kept looking up into the sky and blasting radiation.
It's not going to affect the ozone whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific.
So you say a Yankee fan made this, but I love the fact that they went to Fenway Park, and I'm sure the Fenway Park people are thrilled that they had him in there. Because there was, and having lived in the area, there was parts of it that you're like, that's totally not real. And there's other parts like, oh yeah, like that's the right building or whatever. They decimate Boston. Oh my God. That was like laughable. I'm like, oh my, I guess these monsters are so big and the explosions going off. I was like, there would be people dead for freaking miles.
Meanwhile, Fenway's made of matchsticks. That thing would have gone off. The first concussion 5 blocks away would have leveled it. Much less what was going on in there.
Yeah. Well, I kept thinking to myself, I go, oh, there's now the green monster's got other monsters to play with.
And the ability for like Millie Bobby Brown and other people to survive amidst pure chaos.
Oh my God.
Millie Bobby Brown
astounding.
Should have been dead 1,000 times.
She is a Daffy Duck moment.
And they're able to find each other in the middle of these battles, in the middle of rubble. Just
all three find each other. He finds her Farmiga. They find their daughter. How? But who cares?
Because they go to their apartment.
Yeah, I didn't care. The apartment that's leveled, by the way, and she survived by being in a tub.
She's in the tub. Yeah.
The roads are somehow clear.
Yes. Yeah, because Vera Farmiga. I don't get this. So they have the Orca. This is at the Fenway Park thing, right? So they've had they reunited. They have the Orca thing, which the Orca thing can lead Ghidorah away, right? So instead of getting on the helicopter with everybody, where it can go really fast and really far, Vera Farmiga says, "I'm just going to get in this Humvee and drive down this littered road." So the idea was to buy Godzilla time
Look, I used to commute into Boston. There's no way you get into town from the North Shore that quickly.
Not
No
during
way.
the big
Tobin
digs,
Bridge, forget about it. Big Dig, forget it.
So it made no sense where if you want to buy time, I'm going to buy the least amount of time I can because I'm going to drive about 2.5 blocks before this thing goes tits up, as opposed to jumping in a helicopter and I can be in New York in a half an hour.
I don't know. Could they use a helicopter? Because some idiot landed at Godzilla's feet and then got crushed 5 seconds later.
It was that was indicative of all the dumb decisions that were made. But like I said, I didn't care.
Well, it was great because while all that's going on, Monster Zero and Godzilla are beating the hell out of each other, and Godzilla's doing his super nuke flexing or whatever. So like you're eating that up, and the the part where Godzilla like has his the head in his mouth, so you think it's monster
it's Ghidorah alive again.
Cool. Yeah. That was cool.
Look,
and Mothra did have a hero's moment.
Yeah, for the 15 seconds she's in the movie as Mothra, but yeah.
But Mothra will come back. They all come back. They're like superheroes.
I thought the sound design in this movie was amazing. I mean, the way they did the creature sound effects and Godzilla's super Hulk up moments and stuff.
Powering up.
Sounded really cool.
It made me think of, remember Jack, when we used to have the Evel Knievel and you'd wind that thing up? It sounded just like that.
They blew a nuke up in his face.
So, I mean, and they teased, this is the funny thing. They're building this shared universe, like, and putting all this effort into it. And I'm like, everybody accepts the monster shared universe. You don't have to put that much mythology into it. We get it. They live in the same world. You're trying to overthink this. But they dropped so many King Kong and Skull Island references to make sure you knew that was coming.
If they said Skull Island one more goddamn time.
I know.
By the way, I never sit through credits ever. I don't ever watch these things. I said, I'm going to sit through this. So I get to watch the names of 4,000 animators from East Asia. And then I finally get to it. And they don't give us King Kong. And I'll never get the guy next to me goes, word, punk bitches, no fucking Kong. He got up and walked out.
He was right.
Yeah. Yep. Oh. We waited all the time to watch Charles Dance pop out of the shadows.
I didn't get that because they already shot Kong versus Godzilla or whatever the hell it's called. It's already shot and it's being in post-production. Yeah. Why wouldn't you show a teaser for that? Like, you mentioned Skull Island 90 times.
Yeah, that was the
okay, so they're gonna clone the monster. That's not that big a concept that you couldn't just in the first 5 minutes of the next movie be like, we have the head. I mean, that the Pacific Rim is all about the bodies of the monsters, and Guardians of the Galaxy takes place in the giant head of the Celestial, and they're mining the minerals out of it and stuff. This culture gets it.
Yeah,
there's value in the DNA. Give us King Kong in the freaking post credits thing.
By the way, King Kong doesn't have a shot. As big as they made him, he's a little.
But they said he's an adolescent in that, and that since the 70s he's grown, so he's going to be bigger.
Maybe we can get like a montage of him from a baby to an adult in the beginning.
Oh, we're doing like a Rocky training.
If the same people wrote that script that wrote this, then I would assume that's going to happen.
I hope King Kong is flame retarded.
Now they sort of hinted that Godzilla could be bad.
Of course he is. This is going to be an American movie, so
because they said, well, he's good for now.
I wonder if they'll do what they did back in the day, where King Kong's good in the American release and Godzilla's good in the international release.
I think it's going to be the old. They fight each other until they have to team up against the new Mecha.
Yeah.
Gyodra.
Oh, what about Mecha Godzilla?
Mecha Godzilla would be. That's got to be coming.
I hope so.
You're right. They're totally going to Batman versus Superman it, where they fight and then they team up to beat Mecha Godzilla or whatever. Yeah, 100%.
Till Godzuki comes in and saves the world.
And Godzuki. All right, so listen. I had fun with this movie. I would tell people it's a good popcorn movie if you want to see it on the big screen. At the same time, don't think about this movie. Just go and watch it. Have fun.
Yes. Don't pull the threads. Just sit back. Go. Turn your brain off. Watch it. Have fun. And then, if you think it sucks, go back and watch any Godzilla movie from the 60s or 70s and tell us what you think.
Yeah, I 100% would not tell people to go see this in the theater. I did not have a good time for 3/4 of it. But when it comes out, I would watch it. First of all, I didn't like I said, I liked the first one. This one's okay, but I'm dying to see Kong vs. Godzilla. So if you need to see this to understand that, which spoiler alert, there's no way you do because this movie makes no sense. Yeah, check it out on Netflix or something.
Excellent. All right. So for next week, there is a movie on Netflix that's causing some buzz. So I thought we should watch it. It's called The Perfection. It's got
Like the
Allison
game?
Williams. Superfection. Allison Williams from Get Out and Brian Williams'
The newscaster?
daughter. Yeah, it's his daughter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
This is the one that has everyone pissed off because it's making
he's a
them throw
tool.
up.
Yeah, supposedly there's some shocking stuff in it, and I saw some good reviews of it. I have no idea. I saw like half a trailer, and I said, you know what? I want to go in blind on this, so I turned it off. So
I just read a quick review in Rue Morgue magazine. They said, too bad it didn't come out in the movies. This would be a good midnight movie, not for normies.
Okay. Interesting.
That gives me hope.
So The Perfection on Netflix for next week. But in the meantime, please, people, write us a review on your iTunes or share us. Come to our website.
iTunes is still here.
Yeah, what are they calling that now? Is it just Apple Music?
No tunes.
I have no idea.
Whatever. But we appreciate when you share our link and all that other kind of podcast supporting stuff. And I don't know, anything else you guys got?
Nope.
No.
I'm good.
All right.
I'm
Well,
not.
then,
I'm numb.
with that, we say, may the Titans be with you.
Adios.
See you next week.
Game over,